What's happening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to FudgeMuppet. Today I'm going to be showing you our latest Skyrim build, the Dragonborn. The Dragonborn is the ultimate classic Skyrim character, brought to life through the power of mods. Remember, you can of course play this character without mods, but it isn't really as practical or nearly as fun. Because we're using the Ordinator Perk's Overhaul, the speech skill tree actually has perks in it that improve shouting. We're going to be using these so that our character really feels like he's mastered the voice. It will make this build use shouts more often than ever before, with unique shout-based abilities too. This build aims to look exactly the same as the Dovahkiin in the Skyrim trailer, so your gear is going to be studded armor, iron gauntlets, iron boots, a banded iron shield, a steel sword, and your iconic iron helmet. The heavy armor and light armor skills won't have any perks invested in them, but of course they will both level up over time. The skills that do have perks in them are speech, smithing, one-handed, and block. Looking at the Ordinator perk Overhaul, you're going to want all the perks in the block tree, and all the one-handed sword perks, and all the perks in the left branch for decapitations and power attack bonuses. You're going to want all the smithing perks that help you improve the gear you have, so you'll really only spend 4 or 5 perks here. Looking at speech, you're going to want all the shout-based perks, and also all the merchant perks. The first shout perk makes shouting restore points of health, magicka, and stamina equal to your shout cooldown in seconds, and very importantly gives you speech experience for shouting. The next perk makes you do 30% extra attack damage and move 15% faster for 15 seconds after you shout. The effect also stacks. The next perk gives you a 50% chance to reduce the cooldown of any shout to 3 seconds. The shout perk after that gives you the Merciless Storm power, which lets you cancel an active shout cooldown, meaning you can shout again right after. The final shout perk is called Dovahkiin. If you use the Merciless Storm power to cancel your shout cooldown, this makes it so that for 20 seconds after, whatever shout you use carries the effect of the previous shout. This means that if you used Unrelenting Force previously, and then you use Ice Form will carry Unrelenting Force with it. You basically use both shouts at the same time. As you can see, the speech skill becomes very powerful if you invest in shout perks, and this is what counteracts us using very base early game gear. So recapping on the skills, speech will be for selling loot and making lots of money, as well as using your shouts as best as possible. It makes sense too because the Dragonborn is a loved hero and will often get his way with money or undesired circumstances. One-handed will be used to slice and dice those who get in the way of Dovahkiin business, and block will be used to shield charge, bash, and block enemy attacks. Finally, smithing will be used to enhance all your gear as much as possible, so you do more damage and take less, and it can even be used to forge your own gear if you want to. Now you may be thinking that this build looks pretty simple, but trust me, with the Ordinator perk Overhaul and the investment into shouts, this build is really fun. A link to this mod can be found in the description box alongside a perk link for a non-Ordinator Overhaul character. Anyway, so that's the skills, the perk, and the gear. The Dragonborn's story is that he comes from the town of Bruma just beneath Skyrim. He lived with his family who were Nord migrants from Skyrim, and he grew up learning many Nordic traditions and practices. The family also secretly worshipped Talos, and they had a few shrines within their home. The Dragonborn had a fairly happy upbringing and had a huge imagination. His parents had always read him stories of the champion of Cyrodiil, who helped Martin Septim defeat Mehrunes Dagon and end the Oblivion Crisis. He also knew of the Battle of the Great Gate that happened outside his hometown, and he would often roam the area and pretend to be part of the battle. Another favourite he loved hearing was the story of the Nerevarine and how he saved Morrowind from a plague and Dagoth. It saddened him that he'd never be able to see Vardenberg. After hearing these stories and growing up as an inspired true Nord, the Dragonborn decided to learn the skills of a warrior. He wanted to travel to the land of heroes, Skyrim, and be able to defend himself as he toured around and witnessed places like Dragon's Reach, where Olaf One-Eye had defeated Numinex. He learnt from a family friend who was a member of the town guard, and many of these guards overlooked secret Talos worshipping as they themselves took part in it. After learning these warrior skills, he left on an adventure to Skyrim, but was of course caught on the border and thought to be a Stormcloak. After escaping Helgen and seeing Alduin, he finds himself caught up in a tale of his own. Later learning he is the Dovahkiin, the Dragonborn will happily follow his destiny, completing the main storyline, doing good deeds, and following the way of the voice. If you want to, you can gain access to the College of Winterhold using shouts, and do their entire storyline using the power of your voice. You will also do the companion storyline, and you can choose whether or not you cure your lycanthropy. The playstyle for the Dragonborn is how you'd imagine. You're going to be shouting as much as possible, before battle and during battle. Before, you can use shouts like Stormcall and Dragon Aspect. Obviously for the Dragonborn build, you're going to want the Dragonborn DLC, so you can defeat Miraak and learn new shouts, and you'll also want the Dawnguard DLC to learn even more shouts and rid Skyrim of its vampire problem. Remember, after getting the shout perks, you will often be able to shout twice in a row, so remember to favourite lots of your shouts. Shouts we recommend favoriting are Stormcall, Fire Breath, Frost Breath, Ice Form, Elemental Fury, Dragon Aspect, Whirlwind Sprint, and Unrelenting Force. In battle, you'll be using a lot of shield charging and bashing, and of course your sword to kill enemies that your shouts do not. Remember, shouting as much as possible before using your sword is crucial because your speech perks will make you do more damage and move faster. You will also want to make powerful combinations of shouts like Fire Breath and Unrelenting Force, using your Merciless Storm power in conjunction with the Dovar Zulan perk. Looking at a stat spread for the Dragonborn, you're going to give him 60% health and 40% stamina. 60% health will ensure that the Dragonborn is super hardy and also counters the fact that he is wearing early game gear. 40% stamina will be used to sprint, shield charge, and power attack, and also interestingly benefits your one-handed perks in the Ordinator perk Overhaul. You wouldn't really want any more stamina than this. It's not like you're using a bow or stealth. The standing stone of choice for the Dragonborn is of course the Lordstone for 50 more points of armor rating and a 25% resistance to magic. And that wraps up this week's Skyrim build, the Dragonborn. Thanks for watching everyone, and be sure to subscribe for more Skyrim builds, Fallout videos, and Star Wars lore. If you liked the Dragonborn and his shouts, be sure to hit the like button and check the description for the perk and mod links. There weren't many mods this week, but really this build is just so fun and we just needed a shout-centric build. You can also find links to our social media here, which I 10 out of 10 recommend you go and follow. I'm Michael from FudgeMuppet, and I'll nerd out with you again very soon.